This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So there are several groups out there ostensibly comprised of Republicans who want to hold the modern Republican Party to account. One is the Lincoln Project you've probably heard of, which seems to be more of a money-making operation, although sometimes things that they create break through and make a difference. There's the Republican Accountability Project, which I'm going to talk about today, and under their umbrella, Republicans for Voting Rights. Seems to me, I'm going to talk about this Billboard campaign. It's out front, it's on the title and the thumbnail, you know what the video's about. But I would have this critique. Being a former Republican, someone who was a Republican years and years and years ago, decades ago, if the Republican Party leaves you in the dust, leaves you behind, then what is the duty to try to better the Republican Party or change the Republican Party? You leave it. You move on, whether you're an independent or you register, as I did, as a Democrat. But to continue to call yourself a Republican while the Republican Party is systematically trying to disenfranchise voters of color year after year after year after year, when they're dedicated to the prospect of oppression of LGBTQ and other marginalized groups across the country, when the Republican Party has become the party of white supremacy in policy, in our immigration policy first and foremost, why continue to call yourself a Republican? Republicans for Voting Rights, when the stated objectives of the Republican Party in platform is opposed to those things. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. It's just an opinion. I want to read a little bit about this, what's going on. I'm going to read from their website. Trump lost Billboard Campaign. They're going to spend about $250,000 to put these billboards up. Republicans for Voting Rights is launching a $250,000 billboard campaign across the country to call on state lawmakers to reject frivolous audits of the 2020 election results. The billboard below will run in major markets in states where there's discussion about an audit of the 2020 election, including Georgia, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin, and Arizona, as well as New York City's Times Square, which seems to me, here's a little video, it seems to me to be a colossal waste of money, because what Republicans are you convincing in New York City, which is overwhelmingly Democratic, overwhelmingly liberal? Listen, if this has some effect, then great. I guess I'll reserve judgment of the $250,000 that could be well spent somewhere else. But it does need to be pointed out that, and I don't know if the Billboard campaign is going to achieve this, that these audits are only wasting taxpayer money. It is an amazing, it's an amazing hypocrisy, not surprising. But Republicans talk about fiscal responsibility and being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, but then they are spending hundreds of millions of dollars across the country, or proposing to spend that much, on not only things like the recall here in California, which was $250 million, but also through these audits. And then we witnessed what took place in Arizona. Now, some of the taxpayer dollars, people are on the hook, because the voting machines that were taken possession of by the cyber ninjas or whatever idiot group, they have to be, new voting machines have to be installed now, because the chain of custody was broken with those things, and people don't know what was done to them, if they were tampered with or whatever, because they were out of the custody of voting officials. So the taxpayers in Arizona are now on the hook for new voting machines. Not to mention the fact that the results of that audit actually gave Joe Biden more votes than he had prior to it. So I don't know that billboards are going to convince anyone, especially those who believe that Donald Trump actually won the election, when almost 60 lawsuits were thrown out of court, some by Trump-appointed judges. The Supreme Court refused to hear cases. Case after case after case after case. Lawyer after lawyer after lawyer is being disciplined, some being just disbarred for their participation in the conspiracy theory that Donald Trump won the election. And wasting valuable court time, lying to our justice system, lying to judges, presenting false evidence in these cases. There's a move afoot. I'll read a little bit from this article that the AP reported that Wisconsin's Republicans have authorized $680,000 in taxpayer money for their own audit. GOP-backed efforts in Texas, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania could also leave taxpayers footing bills. And the 2020 election was secure and fair. Amanda Carpenter, who's former employee of Ted Cruz, it speaks to her ability to understand what credibility is. I know she's a fixture on CNN. I know she's a vocal opponent of Donald Trump. But she worked until pretty recently for Ted Cruz. She's the one who gave that quote that the 2020 election was secure and fair. And she is the director of the Republicans for the Voting Rights. She also said that these sham audits are a waste of time and money. More importantly, though, than the time and the money that they're wasting is the credibility of the United States. More importantly is the threat that they pose to our democracy, is the tearing down of the norms of our institutions and the credibility of our republic and free and fair elections that have been held decade after decade and generation after generation in America. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. I mean, look, is it funny? Yeah, it's funny, especially because Donald Trump is a loser. And we know from his tendency to project, he'll say things that for him would be an insult, but for anybody else, it's not. Being called a loser, come on, who cares? That matters to Trump, though. So being called a loser effectively by these billboards, that might hurt his feelings a little bit. But if it's just wasting people's money who are donating to this organization, I don't know. Again, I'm not passing strong, harsh judgment. I'm just asking questions. Answers to which I would love from you. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate your time, your attention as often as you give it to me. Follow me on social media. I'm @Dollemore, just about everywhere. And if I bring you value, and only if I do, I realize I'm not for everybody. I am not everyone's flavor, as I like to say. But if I do bring you value, I would appreciate it if you consider supporting my work, helping produce my work here on the platform for as little as $1.99 a month. You can become a channel member, clicking the join button below this video, or you can head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend. Until I see you, be genuine. Take care of one another.